Hello, everyone. This is Susan Gerbic from Psychics Explained. Just watched a couple videos from James von Praagh. Remember him? And another psychic medium. Her name is Kellee White, and her name is spelled Kellee White, WHITE.com. And apparently, she is an astrologer. She's a Vedic astrologer, and she appears a lot with James von Praagh. So what I found interesting was I've been fascinated about this idea of psychic mediums living in Los Angeles or around about the Los Angeles area, and if they how they've handled the wildfires that are happening in currently in Los Angeles, and if they predicted it or if they knew that it was going to get really bad. Did they warn people? That kind of thing. Kind of like what happened during the COVID in 2019. Did they warn people? Did they know it was coming? Did they go on vacation during COVID and then get stuck in someplace? Well, I've written an article on that. You can read all about that in Skeptical Inquirer. Read all about it. Anyway, so I just watched a video. It was recorded December 11th, 2023. And it is the predictions for the upcoming year 2024 with Kellee White and James von Praagh. And then after that, I watched a video of James von Praagh and Kellee predicting what's going to happen in 2025. And of course, I was very interested in what's going on at the beginning of the year in January in the fires. So I kind of want to recap it a little bit, but let me show you this, like a little clip so you get an idea of what it is that we're talking about is happening. Um, I'm thinking, predictions for the upcoming year. I thought it would probably be more about celebrities, that kind of thing. I know when I did one of these videos on predictions that Thomas John had done, he did a lot of celebrity things and what they're wearing and who's breaking up with who. And a lot of celebrities kind of, they're in the media a lot, so they get a lot of attention. When I and others participated in the Great Australian Prediction Project, we noticed that a lot of the predictions were definitely celebrity related. So let me show you a clip real quick.
Why don't you make a sense or a moment with them to make it a moment that you enhance their Christmas or Hanukkah, their holidays, and bring that special sense of love and appreciation, and in a way teach them about love and respect and a happy holidays, a tradition, because a lot of kids nowadays don't know what that means because there's a very different world we're living in. They don't understand human beings. They understand more devices. They're more programmed to that. They're not really programmed towards humans anymore, and they're really not, if we're fools to think they are. And I don't think we should start taking them back and give them a wonderful Christmas, open them up to the heart, to empathy, and bring them Christmas cookies. Do something where you can bring the young kids, maybe in your neighborhood, and bring them cookies and tell them the Christmas stories and things like that, and spread love.
All right, there you guys have it. So spread love in 2024 with Christmas cookies and tell them Christmas stories to children because children are becoming automatrons and they're not they're paying too much attention to devices and so on. This is kind of the prediction level he and Kellee are giving out. So I'm not going to show you a whole bunch of clips to go through because there's so much lack of substance in these predictions that it's extremely vague. Looking over my notes, they spent a lot of time agreeing with each other, and it gets to be kind of ridiculous at a certain point because he'll make a statement about something kind of vague, and she's, oh, absolutely, yes, yes, absolutely, and then she'll make a vague statement about Taurus and Mars or eclipse or the moon or a number, and he's like, oh yes, that's absolutely, and it's gibberish what they're saying. So in 2024 and 2025, they pick an adjective for each year. And okay, this is it. So for the year 2024, the term that they have is transformative. So there's your prediction. So 2024 is going to be transformative. And 2025 is going to be, let me look at my notes again. I'm telling you, it's so important. That's why I had to write it down. Extreme. 2025 is going to be extreme, and 2024 is going to be um, transformative. Very, very, very good there. Thank you guys. All right. They also said it was intense. Okay. So he said that James von Praagh, oh, Kelly White is really into astrology stuff. And she says 2024 is an 8 year. It's a year of 8. And I thought, what? So we're looking at this because then in 2025, they said that's going to be a 9 year. And I thought, okay. So what it is if you add up the 2 plus the 0 plus the 2 plus the 4, there's the 8. So if you do 2, 4, right, 2, 2, 5, then you've got the 9. So these are years that have something to do with the number. Makes no sense, whatever, but whatever. She says the 8 year has infinity. It's a link between earth and heaven, and it's a transformative year. And then he says that it's a good year to be around children and to bring them Christmas stories. I don't know. Okay. He said, okay, so some predictions that they actually said that are can check up that you can check. In February, Biden's going to get sick in January, Biden's going to get sick. And James von Praagh doesn't know if he's going to live or die, but he's going to get sick. I don't know. People get sick, they colds, they get who knows what. So not much of a prediction. One of the things James von Praagh says is going to happen in 2024 is there's going to be an upcry in spending money in other countries and not spending it at home. Keep in mind, this is the time that we're in a war. Ukraine's in a war with Russia, and the conflict that's happening in Israel and Gaza and so on is happening. So there's a lot of money being spent, and people are upset and for not spending enough money, for spending a lot of money, whatever reason. So these are all things we already know. Okay, here's one of the things he did say that we can absolutely check. He says in 2024 there will be a change in the Supreme Court justices in January or February. He says they're getting a couple new faces. So I went and looked. We didn't have anybody new. I think the last Supreme Court justice was in 2022. So no, that wasn't even close. And he says it twice in this video I watched. He says that there's going to be an attack on US soil, which would be really nice to know ahead of time. But, there's attacks all the time. But what good is a psychic prediction if it can't be helpful in somehow, you're not, if it's too vague, then it's only retrofitted afterwards when there's something that happens, but it isn't going to do any good to know this vagueness ahead of time, and it's kind of a maybe thing. There's going to be a new party, a political party, and there's going to be a war between people because everybody's so divisive. No kidding. She talks a lot about change and with eclipses because there's eclipses in 2024, and every time there's an eclipse, there's great change. And then she goes on to talk about how she had to move or she moved in 2023 during some kind of eclipse. And then she talks about James von Praagh getting a divorce, which is really interesting because why do psychic mediums not know about what's going to happen in their own personal lives? I mean, he made it sound like it was kind of not a very good divorce. It wasn't acrimonical, but it was not a very nice divorce, and it is very sad. So I know Sylvia Brown always used to say, "Oh no, I can't know what's going on around me because I can't, I can't have insight into what's happening. The rules are that I can't do readings on myself or my family members, close family members." But that's just a cop out of why you're really inaccurate and why bad things happen to you in life. There are no rules, you guys. All right. So Okay, and the eclipse that was going to happen in 2024 is happening over a big part of the United States. And so Kellee says that aliens, not space aliens, but people who are coming to the United States from other countries, it's going to have a huge impact on them, the eclipse. And James Van Praagh says that there's going to be guns everywhere. States are going to separate from other states and annex, and then they're going to have their own laws and they're going to be enforced. And then there's going to be another kind of a disease. It's created in a lab, virus and COVID, he believes, was created by the Chinese and the governments, and they're behind it. In 2024, it's going to be exposed how they did this or why they did this or something of the sort. James Van Praagh also sees in 2024 World War III starting. Um, a big possibility, underlying the word possibility, Trump will get back into the White House, but he doesn't think he's going to last. Now, we don't know. So, a big possibility considering there's only a couple people running for office. And Kellee says, fast, fast, fast with AI. There's going to be major earthquakes June, July, August in California. So she ends up saying August 20th because of some um, astronomical reason. Something's happening on the 20th of August. But California's going to have a massive earthquake. And James Van Praagh says that's going to happen in the springtime or early summer of 2024. It's a massive earthquake. Oh, the eclipse is going to bring a change with the election. So what happens with the election in 2024 is because of the eclipse, not because of people voting or not voting or whatever. So apparently, according to James Van Praagh, there will be a civil war kind of thing, he says, in the United States. And Kellee says Trump will have some kind of trouble in March of 2024. And then there's going to be somebody new out of the blue in politics. Now, um, we did have, okay, we knew that Trump was running for office in 2024 for the presidency. We also knew that Biden's ratings were not high. So it wasn't a huge guess. It was, and he was getting pretty old there as far as a politician goes, and that there was some talk of maybe he would step aside. But it doesn't take a lot to say that it's possible somebody else could substitute for Biden. But they said it'd be somebody totally out of the blue. And then I think James Van Praagh says, like Gavin Newsom, which is the governor of California. And that is absolutely not out of the blue that Gavin Newsom would be running for, stepping in for Biden, to run instead of Biden. That would not be out of the blue. And even less likely to be out of the blue would be Kamala Harris, which is what it ended up being. So that's not much of a prediction to say that somebody new is going to run instead of Biden, possibly. They said that James Van Praagh says it's probable that Trump will get into office, but that he will not last if he gets in. So it's just a bunch of vague, 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 vague stuff. So I went and looked to see what actually happened in 2024 so that I could kind of compare it to this vagueness that they said. And there was a lot that happened in 2024 worldwide, but the big things that you would think a psychic wouldn't miss was some of these. Alexei Navalny, he died in Russia, and that was a huge deal. It was very sad. Maybe a psychic wouldn't have picked up on that. A psychic, especially who's very United States focused. But there was a container ship that collided with a bridge in Baltimore, Maryland, Francis Scott Key Bridge, I believe, and that was unpredicted. It was a major deal. And if a psychic had known that and there was any ability whatsoever, any kind of proof whatsoever that psychic abilities exist, if they did, we probably wouldn't see any kind of thing like this because they would say, okay, there's this bridge, and they could zero in on the bridge and they could say, there's going to be a container ship, there's going to be this emergency on this day. No, it never works like that. They never do that. Nothing with any specific, you know what I'm trying to say. Nothing specific that can be checked and confirmed. Even if nobody listened to the psychic the first time they said it, if they recorded some kind of prediction that was specific like that, a day, possibly a time, a place, something, and what would happen there, if a psychic was to make that prediction to everybody here, you know, like recorded a live video and it's released on a certain day, then after the second or maybe even the third time of a psychic making a prediction that's that specific, people would be paying attention. But yet, that's not happening. And the reason why is because there isn't any psychic that's making any kind of predictions that are that clear. I mean, to say there's going to be an earthquake in California in 2024, there's earthquakes all the time. Well, they went on to say it'd be a big earthquake. Okay, well, what's a big earthquake? I mean, how much damage, or what would be the the number? Because I live in California, so a big earthquake to me is going to be over 6. So are they talking about a 7, or you know, the what are you talking about? And then if you don't pick the day, and she does, August 20th, where in California? That's just not that's not saying anything. There's no, it's really saying nothing. Other things that happened: Israel invaded Lebanon in 2024. A lot of floods in Spain killed 200 or more people. Trump did win the election, but there's no mention at all of by Kellee or James von Praagh about JD Vance being his running mate. I would think that would have been a huge thing to mention, especially since they were talking December of 2023. If in December of 2023 they said uh, Trump is going to win and his running mate is going to be JD Vance and he will be our next vice president. You know, maybe there might have been some guesses out there that JD Vance had a shot at being his vice president, but that came quite a surprise to most people. If you could have said it with certainty, that would have been a huge prediction, but no, he didn't do that. And also there was 2 attempts on Trump's life in 2024. Neither is mentioned by these psychic predictions. Not a word about that. Now he does talk about violence and division and you know, weapons and things like that, but that's not specific. Even if he did say somebody was going to attempt Trump's life, well, yeah, people are always probably trying to do that to politicians and all kinds of people, but there's nothing in here about a place, a day, and even describing the event, that it was at a rally, or and somebody else dies instead of him, and none of that is mentioned. And it just seems kind of odd, doesn't it? And then the other things that happened with the the CEO of that health company being stalked and um, taken out. I have to be careful with the words I use here on YouTube because sometimes it gets them a little freaked out, the AI. And so no mention of that. The man who used the cyber truck at Trump Tower, I believe, happened in 2024. No mention of that. That was all over the news, and lots of things. So really, James von Praagh and Kellee didn't have a lot to say that is specific, except for the Supreme Court and a large earthquake in California. You know, everything else is Biden gets sick in February. Biden could very well have been sick in February, but it didn't make the news. People get sick. You know, what does that mean? Get sick? You had a cold? What? We wouldn't know about these kinds of things. Anyway, so 2024 was supposed to be a dynamic year, a very intense year, and um, transformative. I think that if you took a lot of this information that they give out in their predictions, and you get rid of all the words that would date whatever it is they're saying, I think a lot of these things could be used at any year pretty much. If you say the person who's running for president currently is not going to be the person who runs for president for their second term, or um, the president of the United States, the current president of the United States is going to get sick in February with some, any of those things could be used, probably just flipped to any year. It's just really odd listening to them go on and on. But anyway, that's what was in store for 2024. Now I'm going to do another video that's going to talk about what is going to happen in 2025. So stay tuned. Please like, please share, please leave me your comments. I find these always so interesting. And thank you for being part of our community.